Fala galera do mundo mágico, I'm back. Here it's me again. So we're gonna talk about the deleted scenes from Crimes of Grindelwald. So this weekend they released the new version of Crimes of Grindelwald in DVD with the extended version with the deleted scenes, and it was amazing because it got more insight of things that we didn't see in the movie version of the movie. So let's jump right in and talk about the deleted scenes. The first scene that we see in the extended version is the Deluminator scene where Dumbledore is walking with Newt, and they are just having this secret conversation. That secret conversation that we see near to a phone cabin, and that Dumbledore uses the Deluminator. So in that specific scene, the new information that we get is that Dumbledore actually sent Newt to New York because he knew that Grindelwald was after Credence, and he knew that Credence would be able to kill the person that Grindelwald fears the most. So, and Grindelwald saw that in a vision. So that's how everything happened in New York, and that's the reason why Dumbledore actually indirectly sent Newt to New York. So that's the first scene, and you can check it out right here. The second scene that we're gonna have for the extended version of the movie is the ballroom scene that we saw on the previews of the movie, but we did not see at the movie itself. So the good thing is that most of the guesses that was Theseus and Lita's wedding, Theseus and Lita's engagement party, that was wrong. It was just a social for a person that worked in the ministry, and they are both there, Lita against her will, because she did not like to mingle with people from the ministry. They all look her in a very odd way because they all think that she is a freak just because she's from the Lestrange family, or on the other way, if they are poor purebloods, then they think otherwise, that she is amazing because of her line of her family is pure blood. So but the interesting thing about this scene is that we kind of have something happening that we don't understand. Well, at least I don't understand completely, so I'm not sure if I'm correct in that, but it looks like that Lita is legilimens as well, because during the scene she can hear everybody whispering and saying that she's probably the daughter from the prophecy and the poem of Tychus the Danus. So Tychus the Danus. So she they believe that her younger brother will be their savior, the person that will come to help the bloodline people, from the wizards, to be the leaders of everybody else. So they think that Corvus Lestrange, baby Corvus Lestrange, will be their leader. So Lita doesn't want to be that person. She actually don't want to be congratulated about that. So she's kind of avoiding everybody, but she can hear what everybody is saying. So I'm not quite sure if it's actually implying that she's a legilimens, or because at the end of the scene, there was towards the end of the sequence of the scene, she'll actually have a guy coming near to her and whispering that he's welcoming her, and they are all waiting for her brother to come and lead them. So, and we see him, you know, his mouth speaking that, so whispering that. So I'm not quite sure if we should imply in that scene that she's a legilimens, or if she just could hear, you know, people whispering very well. Perhaps she learned it with Newt how to, you know, eavesdrop everybody's conversation, or maybe she taught this to Newt. I don't know. Either way, so but she hears. But if she's a legilimens, then there is a connection, you know, between her and the Queenie, Alice Sudo character, because, you know, Queenie is also legitimate, share something that they're all both good at. But and then we have this paradox of, you know, Alice, Queenie not having a great job just because she's in America, and there, you know, because she's not a pureblood, she then doesn't get a good job. And by the way, I'll talk about that in another video about a theory just about Queenie, because I just got new information about that, and I'll share in another video. But this is more about the deleted scene, so I'm not gonna talk much about that, but I'll talk in a later video. And so, but if I'm wrong about the legitimate theory, then Lita is bringing a new thing that we have to learn about it, that it's a spell or a skill that you can hear people's conversation, eavesdrop people's conversation without even being a legilimens. You don't have to read minds, you can just hear what they are saying, whispering to each other. So either way, it's something to think about it, you know. Either line that you think, there's a theory to think about what's going on there. And the scene at the end, we'll understand that's all about they trying to celebrate pure blood, and trying to celebrate actually the fulfillment that they believe that's gonna happen about the Dodono's prophecy, and then they will see that the Avenger coming out of the water, and they have that little dancer there, which is supposed to represent Lita. And if you look at the scene, they are not the same actress, but they look alike a lot. And that more modern dance person that's twirling herself around the ballroom, it's supposed to represent Lita. And the, you know, fabric floating around is supposed to represent what happened with Lita's baby brother when he drowned in the water. So somehow they're trying to represent that, and Lita, for them, is like, you know, that somehow they believe the kid got out of the water and will save them and lead them. For Lita, it's this terrifying memory that she's the guilty person from her brother being drowned in water. So it wasn't a very happy moment and good point for her. So she's terrified, and it's a party that doesn't go well for her. So that's the second scene. And then the third scene will have a very short strip which is inserted in the scene that was taken away from the original movie, which is the hookah scene where Grindelwald blows the smoke from the hookah, inhale from the hookah, and we have more like uh, focus, you know, a narrow down focus in the hookah so you can see exactly what's written in there. And then he will inhale the smoke and blow out, and then he'll have this vision of when exactly Credence, from the sparkle of black, from the obscurus, he turned himself back into Credence again, the human form of Credence. So, and then that's how he know that Credence survived the all the hours in the American Ministry of American Law Enforcement of Magic, and he did not actually die. He survived it. So that's the third scene. The fourth scene is one that I love it, and it's full of detail. There's lots of things going on there. This is Nagini and Credence while they are in their runaways, and they have this hideout in an attic, and the scene starts with them waking up at morning together, cuddling with each other. And by those, they're just thinking, oh, that was a very tender moment between them. It was a tender moment, but it's not exactly what you're thinking, because if you look the scene shot by shot, you will realize that actually Nagini at that moment was a snake, and she just have come back from being a snake back to her human form. So if you look at it, she will have this blank eyes and her, you know, snake scales and her cheeks and under her eyes. And at that scene, she is transforming back in her human form, and then the scales of snake will come out and her eyes will get back to human eyes again. So it's not exactly what you're thinking in the scene, but actually for some reason, you know, that cuddling somehow helped her to get back to her human form. And the scene goes beyond, because then they finally, at that point is exactly when Credence get the cheek. Still, even with that scene, it's not explained how did he get the cheek. We just hear the cheek chirping at that point, which we did not hear before in the previous scene. When you see both of them together, he did not have the cheek, but at this scene we hear the chirping, and that's when he gets the cheek that will transform in a phoenix later. And there's more going on in this scene. So they get out of the attic and they're on the roof of this building, and Nagini asks Credence to show her the obscurus and his power to manage the obscurus getting out of him and getting back to him. And he asked her why, and she says just because we are free, which is a little bit weird, and maybe that's one of the reasons why eventually in the end he decides for Grindelwald and not for her. Maybe that was a turning point for both of them, but I do not exactly know. But that's an interesting detail there in the movie. And then he will release the obscurus, and guess where the obscurus will pass through? It will pass through Nagini, right at her heart, just straight shot to her heart, and go past her and go back to Credence's hand, and he will get the obscurus back. And another important detail about this scene, so this scene is packed with things to think about it. And then we'll see that when the obscurus is out of Credence, and I recommend that, you know, listening that with earphones or a really good surround sound system so you can hear that, notice that when the obscurus is out of Credence, there is a little female cry. So, and it's not from Nagini for sure. I watched it several times to make sure that I wasn't crazy in what I was a hearing, and it wasn't because I was biased, because I already have this idea that was possibly Ariana's Obscurus, but whether it was Ariana's Obscurus or not, we can hear a female cry right when the Obscurus from Credence gets out of him. So, extra information, Credence Obscurus is a female Obscurus. How did it get in him? Well, perhaps you'll find out in the coming movies, but the point is, it's a female Obscurus, and perhaps those that have guessed it in Credence Obscurus being Ariana's Obscurus, they might be right. But how from Ariana pass it to Credence, that's still a mystery. So, but that's an important point. I'm not saying that it's Ariana's Obscurus, I'm just saying that the confirmed information for the Obscurus in Credence is that it is a female Obscurus. So that's another information for us to think about it. Okay, scene number 5. It's a very short scene, but it's also a very tender one, also between Credence and Nagini. And this is just before they pass through the bird market, and I'm telling you, it was a bird market since I watched the movies, and not everybody believe me because the scene was so fast-paced, but it was a bird market there, and it was a bird market full of Brazilian or South American birds, which totally, you know, was pointing out that we're gonna go to South America in this movie, and you know, I call that. But the point is, just before they get into the market, there is this deleted scene between Credence and Nagini, where Nagini go find them something to eat, and she comes back with bread. And if you notice, she has the snake scale in her hand, so she probably used her snake form to somehow get food for both of them. So I'm guessing that she attacked somebody in her snake form so she could get food for them, and her hand starts to get normal as she's giving the bread to Credence. And I hope that, because if you think is that she used her snake form to bring bread to Credence, so probably she didn't have hands to hold it, right? So she was holding in her mouth, perhaps. So I hope it doesn't have, you know, residue of poison from the snake, her snake form. But anyways, she gets bread for Credence, and Credence kisses her hands in a gesture of gratitude, and perhaps sounds a little bit more than gratitude, but you know, so their relationship is more than friendship, you know, if you cannot imply that from the previous scene, because she actually was in her snake form before they were cuddling, we can imply that there is more to their relationship than friendship at that point, because that kiss was no, you know, friend kiss, even if it was in her hand. So but yeah, so there's this little scene there, and then the last scene that many people have expect and have been waiting for, the 6th scene is the one that everybody have been waiting for, and then I think that's the one that lets most people down, because there's not much information in there to add to the story, and and part of the 6th scene is already leaked on the web, and you know, even before the extended scene came up, somehow I watched it online, and I wasn't mean to watch something that, you know, leaked, but it was on YouTube and I watched it, so I guess it's not a secret, but it's the mirrorized scene. But just before that, there's this part of the scene that it's this conversation between Dumbledore and McGonagal that everybody was waiting for to get more information about McGonagal, and that's a letdown because in this scene you don't get any more information than you already have about McGonagal. Because the scene is just basically they are passing by each other in the hallway in Hogwarts, and then McGonagall is just asking Dumbledore what was that about the law enforcement of the Ministry of Magic in England coming and questioning Dumbledore, and you know, he just says it was just something mundane, and he doesn't give her any details. He doesn't talk too long to her. It's just this very quick exchange, and then he goes off to the Mirror of Erised room, and then he doesn't tell her anything. She doesn't tell him anything further either. So that's the deleted scene that they placed it in the extended version of the DVD. Perhaps the scene was longer, but that's what they decided to go with, and that's what they decided to place there. Because I heard other things about the those deleted scenes, and I do not exactly know where people get this information, because it's not in the DVD extended version of it. But yeah, so those are the scenes that they have in there, and the Mirror of Erised, you know, has been circulating through the internet. So if you haven't watched it, just Google, search for it, and you're gonna be able to. But yeah, those are the cutscenes that they have from the extended version DVD. I hope you like it, the video, and if you have watched it, please comment below what you think, and if you think that I missed something there, let me know, so and I can rewatch it again, and perhaps we can find more information there, so we can you know, get more details of what's coming in the next coming movies. So for today, that's all. So ciao ciao.